guess I didn't see him. What are you looking so sad about, Jeff?
I'm surprised. I mean, I'm really insulted. That's not right, what you just said.
What do you mean, what I just said?
I mean, I'm getting a drink of water. I'm late getting home, but you talk. I said something about the greatest heavyweight champ, man. I'm a hometown man, and you talk about Joe Louis, man. Joe Louis wouldn't be nothing for me. Joe, I tell you, Joe, do you think you would have stood a chance with me?
Well, Clay, one time during my career, I bombed a bomber one tour.
I would have been a bomb compared to you.
What's happening, my people? It's Cass Sports again, back for another afternoon with the family. That's right. You know what time it is. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's the Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Boxing is the greatest sport of them all. That's why we love it. Can't get enough of it. Miss Cass, Mike Grimm. Salute, Mike. Salute to everyone. And welcome to another episode of Cass Sports, the Boxtorian. Today, a look at some great British boxers. There you have Chris Eubank Sr., Lennox Lewis, and Mr. 46-0, Joe Calzaghe. And we're going to look at them and some other great British boxers today. Okay? I think I got my problem resolved, but it's crazy because I already had Wi-Fi through the local cable company. I had to pay for additional service. Already got Wi-Fi, but I'm paying for like the same Wi-Fi twice. But it's gonna work. That seems like this is gonna work. But I think everything is good. But this is the Hump Day edition of Cass Sports, the Boxtorian. I look at some great British boxing. Okay, so for the highlights of boxing history, we are down to featherweight. 126. Going through all of the weight classes, top 10 best all time in all of them. And then we're gonna go back through them, and we're gonna do the top 10 current fighters. But today, we're gonna look at the top 10 featherweight 126 pounders of all time. Okay, so let's get started with that. Without further ado, the highlights of boxing history. .126. That's Willie Pep and Sandy Sadler. They both make the list. And, like I said, sometimes you can't get it down to 10. So today it's going to be the top 12. Remember, at lightweight, we had the top 15. So today, top 12 featherweights, 126 pounders of all time. Okay, let's get started. The highlights of boxing history. Okay, this was designed to get us to 2:30. Give a few more people time to get into the building. But first, at number 12, Freddie Welsh. The Fighting Pride of Cincinnati. Scored more than 200 professional wins during his career, including wins over such fellow greats as Panama Al Brown, Petey Saran, Al Dundee, and Baby Arizmendi. Freddie Welsh, the Pride of Cincinnati, number 12. Number 11, Peerless Jim Driscoll. Peerless Jim Driscoll, that's what they called him, Peerless. The boxer they called Peerless, one of the most cerebral of fighters, holds wins over such luminaries as George Dixon, Abe Attell, George Dixon and Abe Attell. Peerless Jim Driscoll. Number 10, Vicente Saldivar. Vicente Saldivar. One of the finest southpaws in boxing history. Zurdo de Oro owns wins over Ismael Laguna, Sugar Ramos, Howard Winstone, and Jose Legra. Number 9, Johnny Kilbane. A tough, clever boxer and one of the sport's longest reigning world champions. Kilbane holds wins over Abe Attell, Jimmy Walsh, and George Cheney. Number 8 at featherweight was number 1 at super featherweight, remember? But he's number 8 at featherweight, the explosive thin man, Alexis Arguello. Now, while the great Nicaraguan legend gained fame as a lightweight and in unforgettable battles with Aaron Pryor at junior lightweight, his best years were at 126 and 130, as he scored wins over such elite talent as Ruben Olivares, Leonard Hernandez, Alfredo Escalera, and Bobby Chacon. The explosive thin man, Alexis Arguello. Number 7 on the list of the best featherweights of all time, Johnny Dundee. Johnny Dundee. Now, with over 330 fights to his credit during his career, including tough battles against such luminaries as Benny Leonard, Johnny Kilbane, Lou Tendler, and Willie Ritchie. The legacy of the great Scotch Wop, aka Giuseppe Carreri, is forever secure. Okay, yeah, this is another guy. I think he was at super featherweight too. The legendary Kid Chocolate, first Cuban I think he was the first Cuban champion of all time. Yeah, Kid Chocolate. Yeah. Cuba's first ever world champion. His real name, remember, Eligio Sardinas Montalvo. Both wins over such fistic greats as Fidel LaBarba, Benny Bass, Eddie Shea, Battling Battleino, and Al Singer. Number 5. Yeah. Featherweight was one of the original 8. A lot of these guys came from way back in the early 20th century. Number 5, Abe Attell, a lot of the greats, the best in the division. That's Abe Attell on the right. He was fighting the old master, Joe Gans. That's Abe Attell on the right. Abe Attell, number 5. One of the cleverest of ring artists. The reputation of the little Hebrew took more abuse than the fighter himself ever did in the ring. His reputation was tarnished after he was involved in the famous Black Sox scandal of 1919. Remember the baseball scandal? Some kind of way he was involved in that. But wins over George Dixon, Battling Nelson, Johnny Kilbane, Owen Moran, and Jimmy Walsh gives him all-time great status. Okay, the little Hebrew, Abe Attell. Number 4, Sandy Sadler. Sandy Sadler. Now, pound for pound, one of boxing's hardest punchers and most prolific champions. The dominant Sadler has wins over Willie Pep, Flash Elorday, Jimmy Carter, Patty DeMarco, and Joe Brown. Number 3, Henry Armstrong been in like 5 categories? Henry Armstrong is at featherweight too. I think this is his 4th. I think he was at junior welterweight, lightweight, super featherweight, and today featherweight. Yeah, about 4. I mean, he deserved it because he was champion in 3 of them, remember? Homicide Hank. The greatness of Homicide Hank was most firmly established at 126 pounds, as the pound-for-pound legend devastated the division, racking up over 80 wins in less than 7 years in the process at 126. Overwhelming such top-flight talent as Frankie Click, Petey Saron, Benny Bass, Chalky Wright, and Baby Arizmendi. Okay, number 2, all-time at 126, the legendary Salvador Sanchez. Now, Sanchez's career was cut short at the age of 23 when he died in a car accident. But over the course of only 3 years, Sanchez secured boxing immortality with an amazing streak of championship wins, including victories over Danny Little Red Lopez, Wilfredo Gomez, Juan Laporte, and Azuma Nelson. And number 1, the greatest featherweight 126-pounder of all time. It was a hard between Salvador Sanchez and number 1, but number 1, the will-o'-the-wisp, Willie Pep. Willie Pep. The Drunk Irishman, Salute, and Al Booker, Mike Mazik, and the Drunk Irishman. All right, salute. Yeah, we are just finishing up. Today's top 10 greatest is 126 featherweight. We came all the way from featherweight. We're going all the way to 105 minimum weight. And then we're going to go back and do the current top 10. It's actually fighting right now. But salute. We got Mike Wilm, Al Booger, Mike Mazik, and the Drunk Irishman. Salute. Okay. And number 1 is the will-o'-the-wisp. But it was a hard choice between Salvador Sanchez and Willie Pep at 126. But, got to be one of those two. But my number 1 is Willie Pep, okay? The will-o'-the-wisp. Because he was untouchable defensively. He was like the wind blowing in the ring, He'll be right in front of you, then the next thing you to your left, then the next minute he's to your right, and the next minute he might be behind you. The will-o'-the-wisp, Willie Pep. Okay. Now, Pep, the all-time king of the featherweights, the amazing Will-O'-the-Wisp, put together an incredible 229 professional wins against only 11 defeats, with all his wins coming at 126. Okay, never fought anywhere else. 126. Got some honorable mention. Just have to mention these guys because they were so good. You can't forget them. But first, here's RP, Ray Patterson, straight out of New Jersey. What's up, RP? Good to see you today. We're going to be talking about some British fighters in a moment and some other historical things. We're going to start out with the British fighters, but some honorable mentions at 126. Young Griffo, Azuma Nelson, Eusebio Pedraza, Benny Bass, Baby Arismendi, Eric Morales, Battling Battolino, I like that name there, Battling Battolino, Wilfredo Gomez, Chalky Wright, Harry Jeffra, Benny Volga, Davey Moore. Yeah, Davey was down there at 126 at one time. Marco Antonio Barrera, Little Danny Little Red Lopez, Owen Moran, and Young Corbett II. Yeah, I might like Battling Battolino, but don't talk my favorite nickname, old Gunboat Smith. The Explosive Thin Man and the Hands of Stone was my favorites, but Gunboat Smith is taking the number one position in nicknames. Wonder how he came up with that Gunboat Smith for a boxing nickname. Did he drive a gunboat in the Navy or something? I don't know. Okay, but I appreciate everybody that stopped by so far. We're gonna start with the some of the British fighters first. Okay. Okay. Every time the music slow down, I get scared. But I got everything straight today. Had to spend some more money. I'm paying for like Wi-Fi twice for the same Wi-Fi. Ain't that crazy? But I gotta get my podcast straight for my people. So, hey. Maybe somebody will send me a $4,000 cash app or something. Okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about some of these British fighters first, though. Yeah, some of the, sorry, move my laptop closer. A look at some great British fighters today. And we got a few other things, too, we're gonna get into. But there's Muhammad Ali, and a great British fighter, when they put him on his butt, Henry Cooper. Yeah, he put Ali down. That was the first time. No, that was the second time Ali ever been knocked down, because he got knocked down early when he was a prospect. I think in 1960. Can't remember the guy's name. Yeah, Gunboat. Okay, he was in the Navy, Al Booker. Okay, thank you, Al Booker. Yeah, because I didn't know that. Yeah, appreciate you, Al Booker. Yeah, I figured something like that though. Gunboat Smith. You know, but yeah, we're gonna look at first. The question is on the wrong page. Bear with me. Who was the best English boxer? Okay, was it Nassim Hamed, Tyson Fury, Lennox Lewis, Henry Cooper, Jimmy Wall, or somebody else? But let's talk about it. Who was the best British boxer? You find only one in the building, but you find only one not the best British boxer. He's Puerto Rican, but you find only one is in the building though. Salute, you find only one. How are you today? It's always good to see you. Okay. Yeah, who was the best British boxer? Okay. Now, based purely on record, Jimmy Walt is the best fighter to come out of the UK. Jimmy Buck, way back there, early 20th century. Followed closely by Ted Kid Lewis. Now, modern fighters, Lennox Lewis, Joe Kawasaki, and Nassim Hamed, right? But as far as who is better in terms of public affection, all five of those fighters probably take a back seat to Henry Cooper. Yeah, that's him and Muhammad Ali up there. Yeah, Henry Cooper was a loved English fighter. You know, as far as who the British people would pick, especially the older ones that was around that time, would be Henry Cooper. They called him Henry, E-N-R-Y, Henry, Henry Cooper. Now, Tyson Fury, nah. Tyson Fury been fighting since like 2008, 17 years. He's only fought 4 contenders in those 14 years. He fought Wilder, he fought Klitschko, we're gonna call Derek Chisora a contender, and Usyk. That's it. Who else? That's all he's fought in 17 years. 4 top names. So Tyson Fury is out. His name don't even belong in the same sentence with these other guys, man. But it's not a Tyson Fury bashing show, but I'm just calling balls and strikes. He's out. He's like way down, like number 50 or 60 when you're talking about UK fighters. The man only fought 4 big names in between 2008 and 2025. That's it. Wilder, Klitschko, Chisora, and Usyk. Who else? I just looked at his resume before we started. So no, Fury is out. Okay. His name don't even belong in the same sentence as Jimmy Wall, Ted Kid Lewis, Joe Kawasaki, Lennox Lewis, and Prince Nassim. No way. Those fighters are each and every one in the Hall of Fame already. Okay, Jimmy Wall, Ted Kid Lewis, Joe Kawasaki, Lennox Lewis, and Nassim Hamed. You're talking about the best British fighters. Got to come out of that group, I would say. But we're going to talk about each one of them. Okay. Now, many great fighters came out of the UK, but of the old timers, generally, Jimmy Wall stands supreme, with Ted Kid Lewis very close behind him. Some people might put Ted Kid Lewis ahead. I ain't mad at you. They both were great British fighters. But in the modern era, probably Joe Kawasaki, followed closely by Lennox, then Prince Nassim Hamed, right? And while Henry Cooper's accomplishments are less than the others, no fighter in history, in the history of British boxing, was more loved than Henry Cooper. His record and stuff don't match up to those other guys, but yeah, those British fans love Henry. Like I said, especially the older ones. We're going to talk about each one of these fighters. Let's talk about Jimmy Wall first. Let's make Jimmy Wall's case for the best. Jarrell Hattie, Kensaw Love 1 in the building. Let's talk fashion. That's first. Let's Kensaw Love 1 put some color in this. Let's talk fashion in the building too. Great show this morning. 10 a.m. on Wednesday. For now, 10 a.m. right now everywhere. Let's talk fashion is a blend of fashion, sports, entertainment, and life. Great job show this morning. Let's talk fashion. Salute. Okay. Then we have Jarrell Hattie in the building and Kensaw Love 1 with the color. Salute. Appreciate everybody for stopping by this hump day. And Kensaw Love 1 always support. Okay. Okay, before we move on, let's show some love for that support of Kensaw Love 1. Oh my goodness, I went too far. There we go. Appreciate you, Kensaw Love 1. Appreciate you 1000%, Kensaw, loved one. That's my studio audience. They're out in the backyard watching on the big screen. Okay, let's continue. Yeah, we're going to talk about Jimmy Wild first. Okay? Jimmy Wild, that's him on the screen there. I don't want to miss any. Did I miss anybody coming in? No. Ready to say Cass Sports in the building. That's me. Okay. Now, Jimmy Wild calls him the Mighty Atom. He fought from 1911 to 1923. And he had an incredible. He had 135 fights, right? He won 131, lost just 3, with 1 draw and 99 knockouts. He was 1 knockout away from the 100 knockout club, okay? But that's still a pretty good knockout ratio. Oh, no, I got to know. 131 wins with 99 knockouts, 75.5%. That ain't bad. 131 wins and you got 75% of them out of there? That's not bad at all. So Jimmy Wild was so frail looking and pale that he was also nicknamed the Ghost with a hammer in his hand. That was his nickname, the Ghost with a hammer in his hand. Now, his other nicknames included the Indian Famine and the Furious Freak. Now, Wild has the longest recorded unbeaten streak in boxing history, having gone. Before his first loss, he was 94-0. 94 fights. That's longer than Sugar Ray's. And I think Sugar Ray had like 91 or something like that. And Julio Chavez had 89. Jimmy Wild had 94 straight wins out of the gate. That's crazy, ain't it? To the best, he was the Mighty Atom, right? And the great British fighter. And he holds the record for unbeaten fights in a row. The longest undefeated streak in boxing history, 94. Right? Now, Jimmy Wild had an absolutely incredible career, oftentimes giving away 50 or more pounds to his opponents, and yet ending up with 131 wins and 135 fights, and more incredibly, often giving up 50 pounds to his opponents, 99 knockouts. Okay? 99 knockouts. That's crazy. He got 75% of his opponents. 75% of his wins was by knockout. That's a great nickname too, isn't it? Define Arnie. Still don't beat Gunboat though. Gunboat Smith. But it's a good one. The Ghost with a hammer in his hand. Yeah. But yeah, I still got Gunboat up number 1. Okay, let's get back to the Ghost with the hammer in his hand. Yeah, that was incredible though, man. His record, 99 knockouts. Now he was at the best fighting weight at, guess what? 94 pounds. Okay, he started out at minimum weight, but minimum weight, the maximum was 105, and Jimmy Wild's average weight was like 94 pounds. That was his best fighting weight, 94 pounds, under 100. Now, historian Gilbert Ard wrote in April 1969, Jimmy Wild came in at a time when flyweights were identified and competition was extremely high. And he never fought over 100 in his fighting life. On December 18th, 1916, Wild was recognized as the best flyweight world champion by beating Giuseppe Di Murphy in the 11th round. Now, Ring Magazine named him both the 3rd greatest puncher of all time. This little guy don't even weigh 100 pounds. Pound for pound, Ring Magazine named him the 3rd greatest puncher of all time. Okay? Guy fought at 105. And the greatest flyweight. Well, back then, I think it started at flyweight. They had the original 8. We didn't have minimum weight. Started at flyweight, but he fought at 94 pounds. Okay, and Ring Magazine named him the greatest flyweight of all time. Okay, plus the greatest puncher of all time, and they rated him as the 13th greatest fighter of the 20th century. In 1990, he was elected to the inaugural class of the International Boxing Hall of Fame. That's when it opened, remember? Yeah, he went in that old timers category. Now, in 2014, he was voted the greatest bantamweight ever, an honor bestowed on him by the International Boxing Hall of Fame. Okay. Now, Ring Magazine carried a story that in 1965, a 73-year-old Jimmy Wall was at a train station waiting for a train when he was severely beaten by a gang of young men. Now, some accounts said it was a mugging, while other accounts claimed there were words and then a confrontation between the ex-champion and the group. In a tragedy, Wall was so severely injured that he spent the last 4 years of his life completely disabled. Jimmy Wall, the ghost with a hammer in his hand. Okay, next we're gonna talk about 5 of these great, well 6, because we're gonna talk about Randy Turpin too, the guy that beat Sugar Ray Robinson. But next is Ted Kid Lewis. Ted Kid Lewis is next. Okay, next British fighter. Excuse me for a minute. Yeah, I got my Wi-Fi probably corrected, but I had to spend some more money. Maybe somebody sent me a $2,000 or $3,000 super chat. I didn't spend that much, but hey. Go high. Right? Okay. Ted Kid Lewis is next. Oh boy. BBO Sports TV. See, if you want $20, say $1,000. Right? What's up, BBO? Sports TV from the Sports Talk Network. BBO, the founder. We talking about some British fighters right now, BBO. Some great British fighters. Now we're on Ted Kid Lewis, early 20th century guy. Let's talk about Ted Kid. Okay, but salute BBO. BBO might be that one that dropped that $300 super chat in there. Now, Kid Lewis, that's the name he boxed under, right? And then he added Ted later in his career. Now, he was born Gershon Mendeloff in London in 1894. That's a good time. 1894. At just 14 years of age, he turned pro in 1909. Just 18, he won the British featherweight title and the European featherweight title, right? A year later, in 1914. So 18 years old, he won the British featherweight title, and then the next year he won the European featherweight title. He was known as a tricky and clever boxer with limited power. He won the World Welterweight Championship from Hall of Famer Jack Britton on August 31st, 1915, in the first fight of their 20-fight series. They fought 20 times. That's not the most, because Harry Wills and Sam Langford fought 24 times. So, you know, when you say two fighters fought 20 times, you say that's got to be the record. But no, Sam Langford and Harry Wills fought 24 times. That's got to be the record. But yeah, he fought Jack Britton 20 times, and he took the title from him in their first meeting. Now, he lost the title back to Britton in 1916, only to regain it once again on June 25th, 1917, and lose it back to Britton again 2 years later in 1919. They fought 20 times. The title probably changed hands about 15 of them. So let's move on. Yeah. Lewis, who had begun his career at featherweight, and who was probably best at welterweight, tried on May 11th, 1922 for the world light heavyweight title, right? Went all the way up to light heavyweight. And that was held by Hall of Famer Georges Carpentier of France. But Carpentier knocked the kid out in the first round. Yeah, he probably had no business going up that high. And when he went to light heavyweight, he only weighed 150. And the champion, Carpentier, weighed 175. Yeah, so he had no business up there, you know. But they think he was the best pound for pound pugilist to ever emerge from the United Kingdom. Okay? A lot of people call it Ted Kid Lewis. Now, he retired in 1929 with a remarkable 189 wins, 32 losses, 14 draws, 77 knockouts, right? And he lived an interesting life after retirement. Much to the dismay of his friends, he worked for a time as a bodyguard for Oswald Mosley in his racist movement, fascist movement. But when Mosley became increasingly anti-Semitic, Lewis broke with him. And in a famous incident, he beat up Mosley's other bodyguards and slapped Mosley around, right? Not content, he came back and beat up 2 more Mosley's bodyguards, right? In later years, Lewis hung around with the Craig brothers, who loved bringing an old champion to parties. He died on October 20th, 1970. Okay, now let's come up to the modern era. Look at some of these guys from the modern era, starting with the Lion, Lennox Lewis. Okay, the Lion. Mike, there's Mike Masick. What's up, Mike? Salute. Good to see you today. Mike Masick is in the building. Okay. Yeah, Lennox Lewis. If we're talking about who's the best British boxer, he had 5 names. Well, 6, really. 7, because 2 of them from the old days, Jimmy Wald and Ted Kid Lewis. Now we got a couple from the modern era. First, starting out with Lennox Lewis, Lennox the Lion. Let's talk about Lennox. Now, Lennox was born in Great Britain, and he lived there until he was 12, when his mother moved to Canada, right? Now, he returned to the UK in 1988 once he turned pro. He was age 23 by that time, okay? 11 years later after him and his mother moved to Canada. Now, Lennox is without question a deserving member of the International Boxing Hall of Fame, right? And he's definitely an all-time great. Lennox beat every man he ever faced, avenging his 2 knockout losses with emphatic destruction of both men in the rematches, right? With Oliver McCall and who's the other one? Rockman. Sim Rockman, yeah. He got knocked out but we didn't knock Oliver McCall. Oliver McCall stopped himself. He just stopped. He just started crying and stopped fighting, remember? So, yeah. But Lennox got the win. TKO, right? Now, Lennox defeated every opponent he faced, one of only 5 undisputed world heavyweight champions to do so. The other 4 were Rocky Marciano, Gene Tunney, Riddick Bowe, and Ingemar Johansson. Okay? Now, 3 fighters retired after losing to Lewis: Andrew Gerard, Noel Qualls, and Zeljko Marovic. Now, the fighter, they're a little off subject, but the fighter who retired the most people was Rocky Marciano. 13 fighters retired after fighting Rocky. Okay? And the person might make an argument and say, well, they were all old when Rocky fought them, but they didn't retire after nobody else fought them. They retired after Rocky fought them. 13 of them. Oh, it might have been 13 of them. Now, Lewis recorded 5 first-round knockouts and 15 knockouts within the first 3 rounds. The Olympic gold medal winning Lewis is in the Hall of Fame, and as Emmanuel Stewart, his trainer, said, Lennox Lewis is the most complete big man to ever compete in boxing. The first of the super heavyweights, Lewis was 6'5" tall, a rock-solid 250 with an 84-inch reach, an inch longer than Deontay Wilder's. He was a truly outstanding boxer with athletic ability, excellent fundamentals, great footwork, an educated, heavy, vicious jab, and power in both hands. And yes, he could have knocked Wilder out. Prime Wilder. Yeah, Lennox would have got him up out of there. And probably would have been a dominant, one-sided beatdown. Because because that's all Walter had was that right hand. And Lennox would have took it from him. Lennox was a high IQ boxer. He would have took that right hand from him and demolished him. But let's continue. Lewis faced, among others, Hall of Famers Evander Holyfield, Vitaly Klitschko, Mike Tyson, and then highly respected contenders like David Tua and Henry Akawande, and former champions Shannon Briggs, Frank Bruno, Tony Tucker, and Razor Ruddock, among others. Yeah, Lennox got a fire resume, like all those guys back then. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying they fought top contenders every fight, because most of these fighters have fighters on their records we never heard of, but on a regular basis, they fought top contenders. So not every fight, okay, but consistently back in those eras. The Lennox is undefeated, 3-0, 1 draw, 2 knockouts against fellow Hall of Fame members. He won against Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, and Vitaly Klitschko. He faced a wide variety of styles in his career and defeated every opponent he ever faced. Again, right? Even those two who before Emanuel Stewart improved his defense, who had knocked him out. Right? He beat up and knocked both of them out in rematches. Oliver McCall and Hassan Rockland. Now, one knock on Lennox is, the fight he won against Vitaly Klitschko. It was stopped on cuts, and Vitaly was ahead on all 3 cards. And everybody wanted the rematch, but that's when Lennox chose to retire. He never gave Vitaly the rematch. That's the one knock I got on him. Thought he should have gave Klitschko the rematch because Klitschko was winning the fight, and it was stopped on cuts, right? But Lennox chose to retire. Now, Lennox Lewis, along with Gene Tunney and Rocky Marciano, are the only 3 heavyweights to retire, having beaten every opponent they ever met at least once. Okay. Now, how does Lennox compare to the all-time greats? He is one of only 5 men to regain the lineal heavyweight title. Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali, among undisputed champions, won more title fights than Lennox Lewis, dating from his days as WBC champion. Now, beating Evander Holyfield, Mike Tyson, and Vitaly Klitschko matches the top competition of any heavyweight other than Joe Louis and Muhammad Ali. Lennox Lewis' second tier of competition, Razor Ruddock, Ray Mercer, Tony Tucker, Oliver McCall, David Tua, and Tommy Morrison, are better than anyone Tyson Fury, Anthony Joshua, and Deontay Wilder have faced all together. And this was Lennox's second tier opponents. Yes, better than Alexander Usyk too. Usyk is a cruiserweight. You're talking about real legit heavyweights back in that era. Okay, taking nothing away from Usyk. Now, Lewis was also Usyk probably better than some of the people. I'd say for Fury, except Alexander Usyk. Okay. Lewis was also highly adaptable. Now, when Vitaly Klitschko was beating him to the punch in his last fight before retirement, he moved inside, and that's when he started getting the better of Klitschko with a vicious inside fighting style. But when Klitschko was stopped on cuts, he still was winning. Now, Lennox arrived in the same era as Riddick Bowe, Evander Holyfield, and Mike Tyson. And Lennox ended up on top after he defeated Holyfield and Tyson. Right? Never fought Bowe. The first time they were supposed to fight, Bowe threw the belt in the trash, and then they were signed to fight in 1994. But that's when I think Lennox lost to McCall. So that fight fell by the wayside after Lennox got beat. He should have went straight to Riddick Bowe instead of fight McCall first. But Lennox said it best. At age 19, and for 3 years, Mike Tyson was king. But I aged like a fine wine and came along later and became the man. Okay, Lennox, the Lion Lewis. Okay, let's talk about Joe Calzaghe now. We're looking at some of the great British boxers. Next is Mr. 46-0. Cam J Network, salute in the building. Anybody in here not subscribed to Cam J, that's a fire channel. Please subscribe to him. I caught him Saturday. Fire content. Cam J Network. And Ace. What's up, Ace? Ace in the building. Yep, you know, we all know each other over these YouTube streets. I actually met Ace in person at the meet and greet. And Let's Talk Fashion too. A couple people met in person in here. Yeah, put faces with the comments, right? Salute, Ace. And Thomas Hill in the building. What's up, T Hill? How are you today? We're looking at some of these top British boxers. Okay, we looked at a couple of older guys from the early 20th century in Lennox. Now we're gonna look at the Pride of Wales, Mr. 46-0, Joe Calzaghe. Okay, there's Joe holding up his belt. Now, Joe Calzaghe, born Joseph William Calzaghe, March 23rd, 1972. He was born in Hammersmith, London, to an Italian father, Enzo, and a Welsh mother. Now, his father's parents had immigrated to Britain after the Second World War, right? But they returned to live in Italy by the end of the 1950s. Now, Calzaghe's father worked as a teenager in Italy before traveling around Europe. He eventually returned to Britain to visit family, right? Now, it was there that Calzaghe's parents met. His mother hailed from Markham, right? Now, after his parents were married, they moved to Sardinia, but returned after Calzaghe's mother was unhappy. She got homesick. They settled in London, and Calzaghe was born in Hammersmith Hospital in 1972. He was a superior athlete and originally a first-rate soccer player, but he began boxing at age 10, right? Joining his first boxing club, the Newbridge Amateur Boxing Club. Okay? Now, Calzaghe gave up boxing. I mean, he gave up playing soccer at age 12 to concentrate totally on boxing. And he became a truly elite amateur with an amateur record of. He had 120 amateur fights. He won 110, just lost 10, okay? Now, he was a success from the beginning. He won 4 schoolboy ABA titles, Amateur Boxing Association titles, and then 3 ABA titles at 3 different weight classes as he grew, right? In 1991, at age 19, Joe became ABA welterweight champion. A year later, in 1992, he became junior middleweight champion. And in 1993, he became ABA middleweight champion, 3 different weight classes. Joe won titles, Amateur Boxing Association. Very decorated amateur career. Now, he last experienced defeat as a boxer in 1990, right? The last 3 years of his amateur career and his entire pro career, he went undefeated. Okay, 1990 was the last time he lost. Like Floyd in that Olympics in 96 when Floyd got robbed. He cried and felt so bad that Floyd said, "That's the last time I'm going to ever experience that feeling of losing." And everybody like, "Yeah, Floyd, you're going to lose in the pros." But he was right. He never did. Never experienced losing again. And Calzaghe, the last 3 years of his amateur career and through the pro ranks, he never lost again. Right? Okay, Joe Calzaghe. Let's go to Prince Nassim Hamed now. The Prince. This is the Prince. Let's see what's happening in the chat. Anything? Fine on, he says, Joe Calzaghe, at 17 years old, got told by a doctor his hands were too messed up, that he should quit the sport. Wow. And then when all those amateur titles, they went undefeated in the pros. That doctor should have had his license taken. Yeah, but that's crazy to find on him. Wow. But the amazing Prince Nassim Hamed. Now, Prince Nassim Hamed was a generational talent, right? Whose career was cut short by injuries and increasingly an inability to keep his weight under control. Yeah, he had weight problems, major weight problems at the end. Now, the Prince won 3 world titles during a career that saw him lose just once in 37 fights. He just had 1 loss, but that was his last one, and that was a doozy. I think it was Juan Manuel Marquez, was it? Or was it Barrera? One of them put a whipping on him. I think it was Barrera, wasn't it? Put it in there, somebody. I think it was Barrera. Yeah, and the Prince said, I'm getting out of here. But I think it was Marco Antonio Barrera. Or was it Marquez? One of them. One of those Mexican fighters put something on Prince and he retired. His only loss. But except for the terrible injuries to his hands and Nassim's unwillingness to train as he aged, he could have done far more. Now, trainer Dominic Ingle was there for the rise of Prince Nassim, right? His father, Brendan, saw the obvious natural talent that the man had, right? And he started attending the Ingle gym when he was 7 years old, right? Dominic Ingle, his famous trainer. Prince started going to his gym at 7. And Ingle said in a Bleacher Report interview years later, he said, Brendan committed his life to keeping his son on track. It wasn't just a couple of hours a day. He showed him the big picture, what boxing was really all about. Now, when the Prince started in the early days, like most of the kids, he was full of ambition. He was the first one in here and the last one out, right? First one in the gym, last one out. He didn't get beaten at anything. Winning was everything to him. Like Vince Lombardi said, you know, they always say winning and everything is how you lose. Vince Lombardi said, no. Vince Lombardi said, winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. Vince Lombardi said, forget that good losing stuff. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. And he won a lot too. Now, Hamed had an incredible 36-1 record with 31 knockouts. He was a southpaw. He had a genuine one-hitter quitter, and he overwhelmed his opponents with very precise power shots. He was not only powerful, he was deadly accurate also. He's a Hall of Fame fighter who is ranked as one of the best, he's ranked as the best British featherweight of all time by BoxRec, and the number 4 featherweight of all time, period. In 2016, ESPN ranked Hamed at number 22 on its list of the top 25 pound-for-pound fighters of the last 25 years. And he's also one of the most deadly pound-for-pound punchers of all time, with an 85% knockout ratio, okay? And in the amateurs, he was 62 wins, 5 losses, and had a record of 16-0 in world title fights, right? Now, Hamed also had a record of 10-1 against former or current world champions. It was Barrera, right? His only loss was to Marco Antonio Barrera. Ant McQueen in the building. What's up, Ant McQueen? Yeah, Define Arnie had already put it in there, Barrera, but I wasn't paying attention. What's up, Ant? Ant McQueen in the building. Okay, that's Ant McQueen from Casual's Corner. You have not watched the fight until you watch one after Casual's Corner breaks down. Okay? I experienced it. I told you, I've been watching boxing for 40 years. And after I watched Ed McQueen and Thomas Hood on Casual's Corner, the next fight, I was seeing things in there I never thought before. Right? But salute, Ed. Okay, yeah, the Prince lost. He had 1 loss. That was Marco Antonio Barrera. Okay? And his best wins probably came against 5-time Alphabet featherweight champ Manuel Medina and former WBC featherweight champ Kevin Kelly. And he retired at age 28 because his body simply could not take it anymore. And Prince wasn't all that up on training either toward the end. Now, while there have been all manner of rumors through the years as to why the Prince retired at such an early age, really right around the beginning of his prime, In August of 2009, Hamed appeared on BBC Radio and discussed the reason why he walked away from boxing so early. He said his hands were falling apart from repeated fractures and surgeries, right? He said the pain and suffering was far too much, and he was starting to lose his famous punching power because he simply could not bear the pain when he threw hard. And several times over the last few years of his career, Hamed spoke about it. Well, after he retired, he spoke about a comeback, but he never returned to the ring. And when people criticize Hamed, they should remember that he had major surgery on his hands at least twice, plus a number of other minor procedures. Okay? The Prince. Now let's look at Henry Cooper. Yeah, he fought back in the 60s. He dropped Muhammad Ali. Terrell Cameron, what's up, Terrell? Salute. It is Henry. Yeah, but Muhammad got up and beat him up. That picture's probably after the Muhammad fight. Now, Muhammad and Angelo Dundee cheated too, because when Henry Cooper dropped Ali, Ali was very hurt. He was hurt bad. And it was at the end of the round, right? So when they got to the corner, they acted like something was wrong with one of his gloves, and Angelo Dundee sent somebody back to the back to get another glove to give Ali time to recover, because Henry Cooper had him hurt bad. Yeah. And they stalled for time by using the old messed up glove act. And the referee said nothing about the glove. They just pulled that off on their own because Ali was in bad shape after that knockdown. But let's talk about Sir Henry Cooper. Yeah, you talk about all the great boxers, and like I said earlier, Sir Henry's record and his stats don't match up with none of those guys we just talked about. But as far as being beloved by the British boxing fans, Sir Henry is at the top. Now, Sir Henry Cooper, best known in Britain as Al Henry, E-N-R-Y, Al Henry. That's what they call him over there in Great Britain. Okay, skip me for a minute. This phone here is not on my new Wi-Fi. See that? We would be out right now if I didn't get that other Wi-Fi, because this other phone went out. But I got the laptop under new management, so we good. We're looking for that $300 super chat or cash app. It don't matter. Okay, yes, Sir Henry Cooper. Now I can't see the chat, but yes, I can. I just jumped back and forth on the laptop. I wanted to put a comment in there. Yeah, this is what I was saying. This is what they called him. Yeah, Al Henry. It is. Called him Al Henry. Okay. I can stay on here for a while until I get ready to change my image again. Yeah, see that phone is gone. No Wi-Fi. But I switched up on it. There's people trying to sabotage me. Okay, let's go. Sir Henry. Now, he is beloved a boxer as any in British history. His courage, cheerfulness, and common touch endeared him to several generations of fight fans. He was undefeated in British and Commonwealth heavyweight championship fights for 12 years, and he held the European heavyweight title for 3 years, right? He was a very, very, very good heavyweight. who, if he had not had tissue paper skin, could have been great. Yeah, he cut easy. See that picture right there? Yeah, he cut very easy. And Ali already known for using the laces, right? Cooper was born on May 3rd, 1934 in Lambeth, London. He was an identical twin, had a brother, George, right? Was his identical twin, and they had an older brother named Bern, B-E-R-N. He was born to working class folks. He grew up in a council house in southeast London. Now, during the Second World War, the three Cooper brothers were evacuated to the coast with tens of thousands of other children. Yeah, they were young during the war, like 12, 15. They were too young to be in the military because he was just born in 34, remember? Yeah, it's back now. Okay. Yeah, it's back. So we would have been out. And then I catch hell trying to connect back up once once this laptop go out. Yeah, but we are good. Let me leave that alone before the thing go out on me. Stop talking about it. Dummy. Okay. Yeah. Yeah, him and his brothers was evacuated along with a lot of other children. Now, all three of the Cooper brothers excelled in sport. George and Henry and George's twin brother concentrated on soccer and cricket. But Henry Cooper started his boxing career at age 15. He was an amateur with the Elkham Amateur Boxing Club, and he won 73 of 84 fights. At age 17, he won the first of 2 ABA light heavyweight titles. Then he went into the Army. Now, he proudly represented Great Britain at the Olympics, where most observers thought he beat the Soviet fighter he met in the second round, right? The Western judge had Cooper clearly winning. The two from the communist bloc voted for the Russian fighter, right? So, surprise, surprise. Yeah, so they robbed him. Now, Sir Henry Cooper then turned pro in 1954 after his excellent amateur career. And his first professional fight was in 1971, right? Wait a minute. His first fight in 71. He turned pro in 54. He turned pro in 54. His last fight was in 1971, right? He had a 17-year career, 55 total fights, won 40, lost 14, 1 draw, 27 knockouts. For Henry. Now, examining his 14 losses, he was stopped 8 times, 4 by TKO. All were because of cuts, but the doctor stopped him. He was knocked out 4 times, 4 times on the deck, counted out 10-second knockout, right? And 3 of those 4 were by great heavyweights, all of whom were in the top 100, right? Undisputed champion Floyd Patterson, Zora Farley, and Ingemar Johansson. Those are the 3 that 3 of the 4 that stopped him. Now, the last knockout was by Joe Bygraves, a good solid heavyweight who simply caught Cooper with a good shot. That happens. It's boxing. He also lost 5 decisions and was disqualified once. When Sir Henry died in 2011, Muhammad Ali remembered his old friend by saying, "Henry always had a smile for me, a warm and embracing smile. It was always a pleasure being in Henry's company. I will miss my old friend. He was a great fighter and a gentleman." And he put you on your butt. Okay. Now, the final British boxer is going to be Randy Turpin, the man that beat Sugar Ray. It's great to see that works, though. Our Wi-Fi problems are over because the phone clearly went out like this laptop was doing every day, but we didn't go out. Yay. Okay. Yeah, Randy Turpin, that's him on the right. Him and Sugar Ray there. He won the first fight, but Sugar Ray won the rematch. Okay, let's talk about Randy Turpin. I get mad fast. Put it in. Here it is right there. Have everything set right up before we start. Let's get it. Here we go. How good of a boxer was Randy Turpin? Glad y'all asked. Okay. Let's talk about it. How good of a boxer was Randy Turpin? He was good enough to beat the great Sugar Ray Robinson once. And that was like prime early 50s. It wasn't like late 50s, 60s Sugar Ray. This was like late prime Sugar Ray. Dylan's prime, like late prime, early 30s, early mid 30s, something like that, you know. So he's been a very good Sugar Ray Robinson. Okay, let's talk about Randy. After I check the chat first. All right, yeah, okay, everything's good. Yeah, we going to talk about after Randy Turpin. Gerard said what I got next. We're going to talk about the biggest upsets of all time. And I looked at some things yesterday, and a lot of people think it's Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas, but no, I thought it was too, but now I don't think it was Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas. We're going to talk about that next, what the biggest upset of all time was. I don't think it was Mike Tyson and Buster Douglas anymore, no. Okay, now Randy Turpin was a highly regarded British pro boxer, best known for his accomplishments in the 1940s and early 1950s. He was born on June 7th, 1928, and he gained fame for his impressive boxing skills and accomplishments, which included middleweight champion. Turpin won the world middleweight title in 1951 by defeating the legendary Sugar Ray Robinson. This win was significant as Robinson was considered one of the greatest boxers of all time. Now, style and skills. Turpin was known for his boxing intelligence, technical skills, and ability to adapt during fights. He had a solid jab, he had good footwork, and the capability to fight effectively, both defensively and offensively. Now, over his boxing career, Turpin had a pro record of 66 wins, 8 losses, 1 draw, 27 by the knockout route. His record reflects his competitiveness and skill in the ring. Now, his legacy. Despite his success, Turpin's career was marked by ups and downs, including struggles after his retirement. He remains a respected figure in British boxing history, remembered for his historic win over Sugar Ray Robinson and his contributions to the sport. Overall, Randy Turpin is considered one of the better boxers of his era, particularly noted for his significant achievements in the middleweight division. He's one of those great 1950s middleweights I'm always harping about. Now, what were some of Randy Turpin's notable fights after he won the title? He's one of those great 1950s middleweights. Beat Sugar Ray. Mm-hmm. Yes, he did. Beat Sugar Ray. Okay. Now, after winning the world middleweight title in 1951, Turpin had several notable fights, including the rematch with Sugar Ray. This was in 51. Now, Turpin faced Robinson again in a highly anticipated rematch in September 1951. Now, Robinson won this fight by TKO in the 10th round, reclaiming the title and showcasing his exceptional skills. And then Randy had a big fight against Gene Fullmer, 1952. Turpin fought Gene Fullmer for the world middleweight title in 1952. Fullmer won by unanimous decision, marking another setback for Turpin. Fight with Ralph Tiger Jones, 1953. He faced Jones in a non-title fight, securing a victory by unanimous decision. This fight helped him regain some confidence after his title losses. Then Tony Downs, 1958. Now, this was late in his career. Now, later in his career, Turpin fought Downs, who is an upcoming contender. Turpin lost this fight by unanimous decision, further indicating the decline in his performance. And these fights highlight the challenges Turpin faced after his championship win, as he struggled against top-tier opponents in the middleweight division. Yeah. Okay. And how did Randy Turpin's career compare to other middleweights of his time? That is compared to the other big-time middleweights of the 50s. Okay, let's talk about that. Now, Randy Turpin's career can be compared to other middleweights of his time in several key ways. Achievement, world champion. Again, Turpin won the world middleweight title in 1951. He beat Sugar Ray Robinson, and that placed him among the elites of that era. Notable opponents. He fought several prominent boxers, including his rematch with Robinson, which he lost, and he fought other top contenders of the time. Style and skills, technical proficiency. Turpin was known for his boxing intelligence and versatility, which allowed him to compete effectively against a range of styles. His ability to adapt in the ring was a significant asset. In his physical attribute, standing at 6 foot even, he had a height advantage over many of his contemporaries, which he used effectively to maintain distance and leverage his jab. And his competitiveness. He had the record, remember, 66-8, 1 loss. Turpin had a solid career compared to his contemporaries, many of whom had less favorable records against elite competition in era contact. The middleweight division during the late 1940s and early 1950s featured other notable fighters such as Jake LaMotta and Carmen Basilio. Now, while Turpin had notable wins, he faced tough competition, and his mixed results against top-tier opponents reflect the highly competitive nature of the division. Yeah, middleweight 1950s, toughest decade ever for middleweight. Legacy, historical impact. Turpin's victory over Sugar Ray Robinson is often highlighted as one of the defining moments in British boxing history, solidifying his legacy beyond just his record. Influence. He inspired future generations of British boxers, contributing to the popularity of the sport in the United Kingdom. In summary, while Randy Turpin may not have had the most dominant reign compared to some of his peers, his significant achievements, particularly, again, his historic win over Sugar Ray Robinson and his competitive nature, position him as a notable fighter in the middleweight division of his era. Randy Turpin. Okay, yeah, that's it for Randy Turpin. No. What challenges did he face after his career? Because we did say he had some challenges. And then we're going to close the book on Randy. We're going to get to these upsets. I don't think Buster Douglas and Mike Tyson was the biggest upset of all time anymore. I'm always changing. Like Al Booker said, I thought you said Joe Louis was the greatest. I was back on Muhammad Ali last month. I told Al Booker I'll be back on Joe Louis next month. But yeah, later in his boxing career, Turpin faced several challenges. Loss of form. After his peak, Turpin struggled to maintain the same level of performance. He suffered from inconsistent training and motivation, which affected his fighting ability. Financial issues, that's a common one. Turpin faced financial difficulties, particularly after retiring. He experienced trouble managing his earnings, which led to stress and impacted his mental health. Personal struggles. Turpin dealt with personal issues, including bouts of depression and the pressures of fame, which complicated his life after boxing. Injuries. Like many boxers, he dealt with injuries that hampered his training and performance, contributing to a decline in his fighting career. and decline in competition. As he aged, the competition level and the physical demands of boxing became more challenging, leading to defeats against younger and more vigorous opponents. That happens. These challenges ultimately contributed to a less successful phase in his later boxing years and impacted his life after he left the sport. Randy Turpin. Okay. Yeah. Now let's talk about some of these. This upset I got. It's not. I don't think it's Mike Tyson that busted Douglas. I give you a hint. I give you a hint on what I think it was. There's the hint. Y'all know who that is, right? Kind of small. That's Muhammad Ali and Sonny Liston. One. I got a great show coming up Monday. A great show coming up Monday. We're gonna look at some fights from the 80s, man. Just briefly look at a whole bunch of fights starting in 1980 all the way through 89. All the great fights. Yeah. It takes me a weekend to get a show like that ready. That'll be Monday. I was looking at it yesterday, but I said, no, I can't get this ready overnight. So, yeah, that's Monday. We're going to look at Epic Fights of the 80s. That's the name of it. But don't miss Monday. That's going to be a good show. Okay. Yeah, the upset. Right? Oh, yes. I love it when a plan comes together. It jumped right in there like it's supposed to. What is the biggest upset in boxing history? What is the biggest upset? I found this yesterday. Very interesting. Very interesting. Now, of course, everyone answered that question with Buster Douglas defeating Mike Tyson, right? After all, Tyson was 42-1 odds to win the fight, right? So, yeah. And when Buster won that, of course, everybody gonna say that was the biggest one. But boxing insiders were not so sure. Like we're in Old School Rant. I didn't know him then, but he said he picked White. He picked Buster. Old School said he picked Buster Douglas to win that. Okay? So, and many boxing insiders were not so sure that Mike was going to win that fight. Many trainers, fighters, and boxing writers of the time thought Mike was right for a fall at that time. He was not training. He was over partying. He was hiring hookers. I think he had got rid of Robin Gibbons, so he went and hired some other hookers. And generally, he dissipated himself as much as he possibly could. Now, most of the insiders didn't think that Buster was going to be the one to do it, but they felt Mike had a fall coming up, right? So, now a lot of people think if it's not Mike and Buster, they go to Muhammad Ali and Leon Spinks, right? But at that time, Ali was 36 years old. And when you look at all the stuff surrounding the fight, it wasn't really a big upset after all. Ali was 36 years old, already suffering from Parkinson's disease, right? And I lost my place. Yeah, Ali was already 36, age 36, already suffering with Parkinson's disease, and he was only a shadow of what he had been, right? And then a lot of people think Sugar Ray Robinson, Ralph Jones, when he lost that fight. But Sugar Ray was also in his mid to late 30s then, and he hadn't fought in 3 years and did no training in those 3 years. And Jones was on his second return fight. So yeah, that wasn't really, that he was right to get right for an upset. So what were the biggest upsets in boxing history if it wasn't those? Sugar Ray Robinson, Jones, Ali, Spinks, Mike Tyson, Buster Douglas. What was it then? Yes. Glad y'all asked. Now the biggest upset in boxing history, from the perspective of fighters, trainers, and writers, was Sonny Liston and Muhammad Ali won. Right? Sonny Liston, Muhammad Ali won. Now, folks not alive in those days simply cannot appreciate the fear that Sonny Liston was held in around that time, right? Some fighters like Henry Cooper, Ingemar Johansson, they just straight up said they wasn't fighting, okay? They straight up said it. Joe Frazier's team straight up said they wasn't putting Joe Frazier in there with him. Joe Frazier didn't say that, but his team wouldn't do it, right? Wouldn't make the fight with Liston. So a lot of people that wasn't alive, well, I wasn't alive, but I was young. I didn't really appreciate it either until I read about it later. It's hard to appreciate just how feared Sonny Liston was at that time, right? The Ring magazine ranked Sonny Liston as the 7th greatest heavyweight of all time, while boxing writer Harold Goldman ranked him 2nd. Okay? Now, historian Springs Toledo argued that Liston, during his peak in the mid to late 1950s and early 60s, would be favored to beat just about every heavyweight champion in the modern era of the sport, with the only possible exception of Muhammad Ali. Okay? Sonny had destroyed then heavyweight champion Floyd Patterson in less than 3 minutes, and then repeated that again in the first round in the second fight. He stopped him in the second fight 4 seconds later than he did in the first fight, okay? And there were contenders, like I just said, Henry Cooper, who refused to even attempt to win the title while Liston had it, okay? Cooper said, I don't even want to meet Sonny Liston walking down the street, let alone in a boxing ring, okay? I don't even want to see this man out in public, okay? So I'm not fighting. But Ali, then known as Cassius Clay, he knew Sonny Liston was a lot older than he claimed. Yeah, his birth date was unknown, and he claimed 32, but he was likely 42, closer to 42, okay? Really, when he fought Ali both. The second time, he was probably like 50, but the first time, he was probably in his 40s, or closer to his 40s. He definitely wasn't no 32. Now, Ali also knew Sonny was really overconfident. And overconfidence, he happily stoked, right? Ali followed Sonny around to publicly annoy him, antics of which he said, if Liston wasn't thinking nothing but killing me, he wasn't thinking fighting. That's what Ali said. When he got Liston so mad, he said, if Sonny wasn't thinking anything but killing me in that ring, he wasn't thinking about fighting me in there, right? And Ali said, when you're in that ring, you got to be thinking about fighting, not killing your opponent, right? Now, former world heavyweight champion Joe Louis said at the time, Liston is an angry man, because Joe Louis was doing the commentary at ringside. That's what he said before the fight. Joe Louis said, Liston is an angry man, and he can't afford to be an angry fighter when he gets in there with Clay. Now, Ali's outburst also increased Liston's belief that the challenger was terrified, which Ali admittedly said he was terrified. He admittedly said that, okay? And the way he was acting caused Sonny to believe he was terrified, okay? Now, Ali said after the fight, I knew that Liston, as overconfident as he was never going to train to fight more than 2 rounds. He couldn't see nothing to me at all but mouth. Meantime, Ali trained hard for the fight, studying films of all Liston's prior fights, and even detecting that Liston telegraphed his punches with eye movement. Okay? That's how hard Ali watched film and stuff. He figured out that Liston telegraphed his punches with his eyes during this fight. Now, the fight itself was a slaughter, other than the placement of a caustic substance in Ali's eyes during the 4th round. And I think Angelo Dundee did that because they tried to say Liston had something on his gloves. I think Angelo Dundee did that, not on purpose, because Liston had a bad shoulder coming into the fight, and they was putting some kind of substance on it in his corner. And Ali was, when they was in the clinches, he was leaning his forehead on Liston's shoulder. And in the corner, when Angelo Dundee was wiping the sweat off, he accidentally wiped that substance down into Ali's eyes. I don't think that was any kind of cheating or anything. I think Angelo Dundee done that inadvertently. Wiped that substance that Ali got off Liston's shoulder on his forehead. Angelo wiped that down into his eyes. That's what I think happened. Okay. Yeah, from reading and reading articles about it and everything, that's what I really think happened. I don't think Liston tried to cheat. Although, let me tell you this story. Ali said he ran into a guy before the fight out in the street. And this guy said he had a way, gave Ali this substance he could put on his gloves. And that would blind Liston, would guarantee that him win the fight. Ali said he didn't want to win that way. So Ali said when he got to his corner for the fight when Liston came out, he said he saw that guy over there in Liston's corner. The guy that offered to help him cheat. He said the guy was in Liston's corner, but I don't know. I don't believe that. No, I think Angelo Dundee wiped that stuff into Ali's eyes by accident. But yeah, Ali said the guy that offered to help him cheat, when he looked over there before the first round, the guy was in Liston's corner. No. But let's continue. Yeah. Yeah, Terrell says mob cheating. Yeah, that's right. Nerves of steel, Ali. But anyway, the fight itself was a slaughter, other than the placement of a caustic substance in Ali's eyes during the 4th round. Which, like I said, I think Angelo Dundee did that. Now, until his vision cleared, Ali simply used his incredible speed and footwork to stay away from Liston. That's why we always talking about somebody don't have the power to keep them off. You don't need power to keep them off. You can use movement, speed, footwork to keep the person off. Power ain't the only thing to keep a person off. Right? Mm-hmm. Right, Ant? Power is not the only thing a fighter can use to stay away from somebody. Use your ring generalship, all that kind of footwork, all that stuff, speed. That's what Ali did when he got that stuff in his eye. He used his footwork and speed, mobility, to stay away from Liston, right? Okay. Now, Ali's superior speed and movement were immediately apparent from the first round on as he slipped most of Liston's punches. And he hit Liston with jabs at will and combinations that electrified the crowd. Milt Bailey, one of Liston's cornermen, recalled, he said, in the first round, Sonny couldn't catch up with Clay. And I thought we might have some trouble. That was an understatement. I thought we might have some trouble. That's what one of Liston's cornermen said. He felt after the first round. I thought we might have some trouble. Wow. Okay. Yeah, in angles too. You're right, Terrell. In angles. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Then the 3rd round, Ali had clearly assumed control of the fight. 30 seconds into the round, he hit Liston with repeated combinations, causing bruising and swelling under Liston's right eye and a cut under his left, which required 8 stitches to close after the fight. Okay? It was the first time in Sonny's career that he had been cut. At one point in the earlier stages, Liston's knees buckled, and he almost went down as he was driven across the ring and into the ropes. Les Kelter, broadcasting at ringside, was screaming, "This could be the upset of the century." Boxing writer Mort Sharnick described the first time Lister was cut thusly. Cassius hit Lister with a 1-2 combination, a jab followed by a straight right. Jab, straight right hand combination. Left jab, straight right. Cassius pulled the jab back, and there was a mouse underneath Sonny's right eye. Then he pulled the right hand back, and there was a gash under the left eye. It was like the armor plate of a battleship being pierced. I said to myself, my God, Cassius Clay is going to win this fight. And when he did, when the bell sounded for the 7th round, Ali was the first to notice that Lister had spit out his mouthpiece. Overjoyed, Ali danced to the middle of the ring with his arms raised, doing the Ali shuffle, while Howard Cosell, broadcasting at ringside, shouted, wait a minute, Sonny Lister is not coming out." Lister failed to come out for the 7th round, and Ali won the fight by technical knockout. It was the first time since 1919 that a world heavyweight champion had quit sitting on his stool, and that was the fight we talked about Monday, when Jess Willard cornered through the towel at the end of the 3rd round. Remember, 1919. This fight in 1964 was the first time since then. What was that? 44 years, right? 45 years that a world championship fight ended with the champion quitting on the stool, right? Now, 1934, after a mediocre on and off career punctuated by repeated injuries and losses, James J. Braddock was given a fight with the highly touted John Corn Griffin. This is another good upset here. Now, wait a minute, let's see something. Do I want to go with this one? Nah. I got some other upsets I want to talk about. Yeah, Sonny Lister and Ali was good for that, okay? Let's talk about some of these other upsets. Let's appreciate everybody rocking with me today. We got Terrell Cameron, Ant McQueen, Thomas Hill, Cam J Network, Mike Mazik, BBO Sports TV, Kensaw Love 1, Jarrell Hattie, Let's Talk Fashion, Define Arnie 1, Ray Patterson, The Drunk Irishman, Mike Mazik, Al Booger, Mike Rim, and Miss Cass. Yeah, I got some other upsets we want to cover. Oh man, it's 3:30. Let's look at these right quick. We got to get the link down. Let's look at these upsets real quick. Some of the greatest upsets of all time. Some of them we never talked. Upsets we never talked about. Not Tyson and Buster Douglas or Ali Foreman. Nah, none of those. We done talked about those enough. Or Sugar Ray Hagler, no. I don't know who that is. That's Ali and somebody. I don't recognize that guy. But yeah, Kirkland Lang and Roberto Duran. That was a big one. Let's talk about that one. That was a big one. Yeah, it hurt me to my heart. That was not too far after like a year or so after the No Moss fight. Yeah, that's Kirkland and Roberto. Now, this was on September 4th, 1982, since we talked about upset. Now, how low can you go? Now, Duran had already disgraced himself by quitting against Ray Leonard, like a year and a half later, and was coming off a one-sided defeat to Wilfred Benitez. But he was still regarded as a force to be reckoned with, not to mention an all-time great. Now, the unknown Kirkland Lang made Manos de Piedra look completely washed up as he scored the biggest upset in years. Duran's ignominious defeat nicely set up one of the most remarkable comebacks in boxing history, though, because Duran came back and became a champion, because he was at a real low after that one. Like a year and a half or so after the No Mars fight, he got upset by Kirkland Lane, but he made a great comeback. The Hands of Stone. Chrissy Zivick beat the great Homicide Henry Armstrong. That was a big one, huge one there. This Homicide Hank on the mat. This was October 4th, 1940. The Homicide Hank had reeled off an incredible 18 straight defenses of his World Welterweight Championship. That's what made it so bad. 18, coming off 18 straight title defenses. And was expected by all to notch number 19 against Fritzy Zivick. But the infamous Zivick, known the world over for his incredible talent at getting away with low blow after thumb after rabbit punch, startled everyone by beating the hell out of the great Armstrong and almost stopping him in the final round. Had him on the mat. See that? It's bad when you go there and your feet all up in the air. Damn. Yeah, put something on Homicide. Nah, we don't want Muhammad Ali and George Foreman. Lord Honeyghan and Donald Curry was a big one too. And remember, Monday we got some fight. We're gonna talk about a lot of fights from the 80s. Oh, that's George Foreman on the mat. See him? See Big George laying there. Okay, Lord Honeyghan and Donald Curry. We're gonna get some link time after this because we got like 20 minutes. Now, after a string of convincing wins, this was on September 27th, 1986. After a string of convincing wins, Curry was viewed by all as the heir apparent to Sugar Ray Leonard, pound for pound, second only to the great marvelous Marvin Hagler. Lloyd who? People asked before the fight, but it was Curry who quit in his corner after taking a 6-round beating on national television. Yeah, that was a big one. When Lord Honeyghan beat Donald Curry in '86 years. Because Curry was supposed to take over after Sugar Ray was like the face in the 80s. And Donald Curry they was going to be the face of the sport, man. And he went in and got beat by Lloyd who? Yeah. If anybody wants to come up on the link, I'm gonna put it in a moment. Girl says, rest easy, Mr. Mac Lewis. He gave me words of wisdom. Okay, let's get this link in. Okay. How's everybody? It's Hump Day. We had Let's Talk Fashion this morning. The fashion and the clashing was a lot of clashing, I thought. Especially the guy that had the necktie halfway down, the coat was too small. Anybody remember the 80s? Remember Butch Lewis, Michael Spink's promoter? Used to wear a suit and a tie with no shirt. Remember that? Now that would definitely be clash. This man used to wear a suit and a tie with no shirt. Now, damn, nobody can pull that off, but Butch Lewis did it. He would actually sometimes have a tuxedo on, bow tie, no shirt. Tuxedo, no shirt. Butch Lewis. That was crazy. Now that was clash, ultimate clash. Yeah, that was the ultimate clash. A suit and tie with no shirt. Where they do that at? Butch Lewis. He was Michael Spink's promoter. Back in the 80s. And then come up, there's some fights with a tuxedo on, bow tie, no shirt. Now you forgot something, Butch. Your shirt. Butch be like, I ain't forget it. This is the style. But the only thing, nobody ever picked that style up but Butch. You know, people start trends and people start back, other people start wearing. Now nobody picked that up. That was Butch's, all Butch. Damn, the tie with no shirt on. That's crazy. Okay, here's the link. Everybody's welcome. Encouraged to hit the link. Okay. It is. And meanwhile, I'm going to go back to these upsets. Now, where were we? Lord Honeyghan, Donna Curry. What else do I have? Now, Holyfield Tyson. Now, I don't even consider that an upset. Oh, yeah, up to when I was getting ready to talk about James J. Braddock and Max Baer, but this is shorter version. Yeah, James J. Braddock and Max Baer was a good one. A couple people had died after Max Baer fights. That's Holyfield and Tyson. Okay. That's, I don't know who that is. Braddock. But yeah, this fight was on, what just happened? June 13th, 1935, right? Now, this was after, it was after this colossal upset that Braddock, considered by most a washed-up has-been, became the Cinderella Man. It was supposed to be an easy night's work for new heavyweight champion Max Baer, but instead, Braddock took the overconfident power puncher to boxing school and took the crown by a 15-round unanimous decision. And there's Define Arnie won. And where's the cursor? There it is. All right, what's up, Define Arnie won?
How you doing, Cass?
Oh, great. Oh, you're loud and clear today. I'm doing great. How
Awesome.
about how you doing today, my friend?
I'm good, brother. You saw what I typed about Kirkland Lang?
No, I didn't. Let me check that out. What was it? Tell me about him. Kirsten.
He was really talented. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah.
that it's one of those sad stories, man. He ended up
Yeah.
homeless, had
Addiction.
addiction problems.
Okay. Yeah.
So he was,
Because he did a number on Duran, and that's probably the best fight of his career, you know?
no doubt.
Yeah. Have you ever saw that one?
I did. I
Yeah.
did. He definitely beat Duran. And
Mhm.
yeah, he was who can I compare him to? Like one of those kind of like you remember that Sugar Ray opponent, Dick Eklund, the half brother of Mickey Ward, where he
Yeah.
was-
Yeah, I remember him.
as soon-
Vaguely. Yeah.
yes. He as soon as he stepped out of the gym, he ended up in prison. He
Oh, yeah. Just,
you know,
bad hard
like,
luck, man. Yeah.
So, but yeah, I mean, Kirkland Lang was really good on the ring, on the ring though. Like if you see him, he had he was really smooth with it. He was an
Is he still
Englishman, I
living?
think.
Is
No,
he still
no.
alive?
No,
No?
he passed away. Sadly.
Okay. Was it related to his addiction and stuff?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I remember they interviewed him. One of those. What's the name of this guy in the UK? Steve Bunce or something like that. Bald
Mhm.
guy. That the ones that are most known for interviews over there. He interviewed him once, and he was, you know, on the street smoking, and but it was a great interview though. It was a pretty good interview. I feel
Yeah.
really bad.
Okay. What do you think about the British fighters? Who's your best British fighter?
Joe Calzaghe.
Kawasaki. Yeah, I had Kawasaki up there. Mm-hmm. Yeah, he's definitely in the running. Top 5 for sure.
I think it's between Lennox, Joe, and Nassim. Personally,
That's right.
If anybody want to put Nigel Benn or Eubank or what's this guy name? I don't remember now. You know, I'm not gonna have too much to say about it, but to me, it's between those three.
Yeah, I got it down to those 3 too. Them was the 3 I mainly talked about. Yeah, them 3 for the modern era. Yeah.
No, that's Simon Jordan, Albuga. No, I'm not referring to Simon Jordan. It's a bald guy. Steve Bunce, Bunce, something like that. But yeah, I love Simon Jordan as well. Appreciate it, Albuga.
Yeah. Johnny Nelson wasn't bad, but
that's the one. That's the one
you
that
talking
I
about?
remember. Yeah.
One on the zone now.
Yes.
Yeah, okay, Johnny. He wasn't that big,
really
but I
strong.
wouldn't put him up there with them though. Nah.
I mean, if somebody would, I wouldn't be too mad about it because he
Yeah.
did some great things in the ring. But
Mm-hmm.
to me, I narrowed it down to those 3.
Yeah. For sure.
So what's up, brother? Great show.
Oh, what happened? Oh, you blinked out on me. Oh, you talking to somebody else?
No. I was saying like great show as always. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Good?
now it's some
Oh,
static
okay.
came in, but you back loud and clear now.
I appreciate it.
Yeah.
To me, bro, and I stand on this. It's gonna be hard, but uh, to me, the greatest upset of all time is Ali versus Foreman.
Oh yeah, that one, Foreman. Yeah, and you have to really around from if you really read up on what was going on around the time and how Foreman was doing everybody else. That was a big one. That was a big one.
Exactly. Not only that, like I've seen. I remember my father told him he thought he was genuinely afraid for Ali's life, bro.
Yeah, most fans didn't even want Ali to fight him.
Exactly.
Didn't even want, didn't even want to. You've done enough. We happy. You're already the greatest. And even his own team thought he was going to lose.
Yes.
And that was kind of similar to the Liston situation that was like, I think it was like 10 years earlier when he fought Liston 64. Kind of similar, both situations. Big feared guy was destroying everybody else,
The problem with Sonny Liston is that he had his name, I think, is Frankie Carbo, the guy that managed him, so to speak. Not as much manage him as much as, call the shots,
And you know what else? Liston was a lot older than Foreman when Ali beat him too,
That was a big part in the way the bets were placed and how Liston was basically ordered to take a dive. I'm not taking anything away from Ali. That's not Ali's fault.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Yeah, I understand that. Right. Yeah. Especially the second fight. That was crazy.
No
doubt. With the Phantom Punch?
Which one? That was the one fight was the so-called Phantom Punch, and the other one wouldn't come out because his shoulder was hurting or something like
first
that.
One,
Man.
But the Phantom, the referee and people on the front row said they never even saw the punch. Liston just went down the first time Ali threw a punch and stayed down.
And Liston had one of the best jabs probably ever. And when you saw what he did to Floyd Patterson, bro, you were like, holy shit.
You know what they said though? Leading into that fight, they said the Nation of Islam had Liston's wife and his kid during that fight, and they got word to him that they had him, they was holding him, and he knew what he had to do. So I don't know how true that is, but I got it from a pretty good person. This guy was on Bruce Gas one time that actually knew Liston and Ali and knew all those people. This guy. He was.
You have a name?
So the Toe said that story one time. Yeah.
I've never heard of that. I'm not discrediting it. I just heard about well, not heard. I mean, it's documented, right? The Frankie Carbo and that Liston was even a bouncer in his gloves. I mean, the whole shebang. Because back then the mob, bro. Back then the mob was as powerful as the cartels are today, basically.
Nah. Yeah, that's right.
And like this is my thing. I got into it the other day, like a month ago. I got into it in a panel with a guy that was just hating on, or well, maybe that's a strong word, but hating, for lack of a better word, on Rocky Marciano. Because he had ties to the mob and stuff. And I was like, listen, but you gotta understand, like, as if you could just say no to them, like it's not that easy, bro. Like it's pretty much yes or
I know. They was running the sport. If you said no, you wasn't gonna get no title fights and stuff.
They ran everything. They had politicians. They had everything in there. I think in World War II they even had to ask them permission for something, for using a harbor or something. That's how powerful they were. But anyway, I'm sorry.
That's how Jake LaMotta got his first title shot. He said he testified before Congress in the 60s when they was bringing him down that they paid him $20,000 and promised him a title shot, because if he told him no, he wasn't getting a title shot, Yeah, and then he took a dive against their fighter.
Guga just confirmed what you said about the Nation of Islam.
Yeah, Bruce Gas sent me this link, and he was talking to this guy. This guy actually knew Ali, Liston. He knew all those people, and he was talking to Bruce Gass, and Bruce Gass sent me the link, and the guy told that story on there. Because I was getting ready to do a show on Liston, and Bruce Gass sent me that link, you know. And I was
Google
like,
with the good
wow.
stuff as always.
Yeah.
So what was I gonna say? The what I typed about Joe Kawasaki, that's actually true. I mean I'm reading his book right now and Hagler's
Joe?
book, but
Okay.
but I read it on the book, but also in the interview that Andre Ward did on him. I've seen that interview like 3 times already. Fantastic interview, by the way. And he said that he actually showed the scar on his hand and everything. So it wasn't like the doctor was making stuff up or anything. It was real. It's just that, you know, this guy is different, you know, basically.
Yeah.
Let me show you the okay, here it is. Let me show it to you. I'm gonna go ahead and cam up. That means you can see. Can you see me?
Yeah, I see you. Mm-hmm.
This is the book.
That's the book? Okay. Kawasaki. Yeah. Okay. Wow.
And
I didn't know he had written a book.
Yeah.
Is
and
it
the
recent?
foreword.
How old is it?
Tell you right now.
Okay.
The foreword was written by Sugar Ray Leonard.
What? Oh man.
Published in the UK by Arrow Books in 2008. Says here.
Okay. Written by Sugar Ray Leonard. That's interesting.
Yeah.
I might have to check
show
that out.
to you. See that right there?
Yeah.
Foreword by Sugar Ray Leonard. See that?
Yeah, see it. I might have to check that out. Yeah. What's the name of it again?
No Ordinary Joe.
Okay.
The autobiography of
Joe Kawasaki. Yeah.
And where did I put the? Give me a second. I'll show you the Hagler book because I got something on Marvin Hagler now. Give me a second.
You do?
Be right back.
Okay. Yeah. I read something on Hagler, but it wasn't an autobiography. It was just had like a few fights, like some of his biggest fights, and then he was talking about them. They would talk. He was being interviewed. They would talk about the fight. It wasn't like an autobiography. Yeah, it was kind of a short thing. Yeah, more like an article.
There it is. You see it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
There it is.
Yeah, I see that one. Okay.
The 25th page or something. Right when he gets with the Petronelli.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. He was with them almost, I think, what was it, like he went somewhere else for like a week and then he wasn't getting their attention and he left. Something like he went to another gym. It was the Petronelli Brothers gym.
Yes.
He the rest of the way. Something like that. Anyway. I forgot exactly how I had read stuff on my phone at one time.
I just read it, man.
Yeah. Because he had got into a fight that a guy forgot at a party and the guy took his jacket or something. And the guy trained at that same gym he went to, that first one. I don't think they ever sparred or anything. But he left there.
Here it is.
The guy beat him up at the party, right?
From the age of 15, Hagler started to visit some of Brockton's boxing gyms.
Mm-hmm.
And the trainer of Peter McNeely, young man, would sit on the side, etc. And then 2 brothers, Guarino, Goody, and Pasquale Petronelli, ran a boxing club, etc. It's like how he came about to join the Petronelli brothers, you know. And
you know, they was kind of low-profile trainers. One was trainer, one was manager. A lot of more famous trainers tried to steal him away from them.
Yes,
but he never left. He never left.
That's just one of the reasons why I have Hagler as my number one, because
he was loyal.
His loyalty. Because if you look at the other 4 kings, you got Ray Arcel with Duran.
Legendary.
You have Angelo Dundee with Leonard, and you have Emmanuel Stewart with Hearns.
Yeah.
And the only ones that aren't mentioned in that same breath are the Petronelli brothers.
Petronelli brothers, yeah. Yeah.
And that's a disgrace, in my opinion.
They up there. They didn't have the kind of high profile fighters that them other three had. The Bailey Hagler. I think they had Hagler's brother too, didn't they? Robbie Sims.
You know what? I'm probably gonna, because I'm just starting to read that chapter, so
Yeah, I
I'm gonna
think
come
they
back at
changed
you
it.
with that one.
His half brother. I think they had the same mother or something like that.
But the Alan Minter fight, bro, that was a really bad one because
Yeah.
Alan Minter, well, first of all, Alan Minter stood up and said in front of everybody in the UK press that he wouldn't lose, that no black man will,
I remember that.
you know that,
Yeah.
and not only that, one of Hagler's victims, some dude named Flanagan or something, like, just read it on the book. God damn it, something Flanagan was his name. Was putting some nonsense out there about Hagler using his head all the time, leading with his head and headbutts. And bro, when Hagler beat Minter, they were throwing all kinds of things in the ring, man. He couldn't even celebrate it, man.
I saw that when that actually happened. I was watching that fight. I saw that when that happened on
that was such a disgrace, man.
Like, yeah, that was on TV live when that I saw that, man. And they had both for him and Minter needed security because they was mad at Minter too.
Yes.
For losing.
Yes.
You know.
And
I remember that. Yeah.
Especially when you consider that Hagler was already screwed in the Vito Antuofermo fight.
I know.
Remember that? They gave it a draw.
Yeah, draw. And then Minter beat Antuofermo.
Exactly.
He got it. But I think he did beat Antuofermo again once he became champion, right? Didn't he? I think they had a second fight.
That's a good question, man. I should know this.
But he took the belt from Minter. But I think they fought again. When Hagler had it, then he beat him. But yeah, they robbed. He got robbed. Well, he got ducked a lot too. You know.
Oh yeah.
Coming up, nobody would fight him.
I mean, Sugar Ray Leonard ducked him. I don't know how many times. He only got in the ring with him because he was sensing that he wasn't the same.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right. He beat Alan Minter, then he beat Fulgencio Belmejias, which was a great. I don't remember if it was from Panama or Venezuela, one of the two.
I think it was Venezuela. Yeah.
Probably, and then Vito Antuofermo. Yeah.
Right. Hagler had the title the second time, right?
Yeah. No, the third time.
The third? They fought 3 times? Wow.
Give me a second, because they fought. Oh, no, I'm wrong. You're right. He fought once, and then they screwed him with a draw, and then he fought him when he was a champion. Yeah.
Yeah, after
twice.
Minter took the title.
Yeah.
He get another shot.
It should be 2-0, but it's 1-1. Whatever. Everybody knows it's 2-0.
Yeah. Yeah. And you know, Sugar Ray ducked the rematch too.
I never
know that story,
years.
Right?
Yeah.
That's
clearly never gonna give him a rematch, bro.
That's a textbook duck.
Absolutely.
You know? I mean, as soon as Hagler, he waited over a year, and as soon as he retired, the Sugar Ray came right back.
Yes.
Like the coast is clear.
And he did, and Sugar Ray, they did the same thing to Roberto Duran in the second fight, if you remember.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, because he was sensing that Duran wasn't the same. He wasn't speaking like with that fervor that he used to speak. And he was like, if I'm gonna get him, it's now. Leonard's a chess player, bro.
He got him in there a lot. Immediate rematch too.
Yep.
Duran was a celebrant. He celebrated when he wins. You know, like when Esteban de Jesus beat Duran.
Right.
He wasn't in the best of shape in the early '70s because that was his first title, and he went out and celebrated. I mean, I ain't taking nothing away from Esteban, a great fighter, but Duran just had that name for celebrating and not training the best sometimes. Right after big fights.
Duran beat him twice in a row anyway.
Yeah.
So it's 2-1 anyway. So
yeah. But Sugar Ray got him back in there at the ideal time in the second fight.
Absolutely. And I don't want to cheated him. I don't want to make it seem like I'm hating on Sugar Ray Leonard.
I am. He cheated.
Yeah, like his career, you have to look with a microscope.
Yeah. Yeah, but Duran, it didn't matter that then he lost that fight to the one we was talking about, that upset. The guy you was talking about had the drug problems.
Kirkland Lang. Yes.
Yeah, that was like a year or so after the Sugar Ray fight. You know, he was. But he made a good comeback.
Absolutely, man. The Iran Barkley fight, the Davey Moore fight, the I'm forgetting a few.
Yeah.
But not only that, everybody knows that the best Duran is lightweight Duran. Like everybody knows that.
Yeah.
the Ken Buchanan fight, and Ken Buchanan was really good, by the
Yes,
way.
he was. Yes, he
And
was.
that was, man, that Duran, nobody beats that Duran. bro.
Nobody.
Jeez.
Nobody. That Duran, I'd say the two most dominant fighters ever was Duran in the 70s and Ali in the 60s. If you want to say some fighter was unbeatable, them two.
There's certainly two of them. I mean,
Yeah.
I can't argue with that. I don't know that they're
Yeah.
the only two up there, but they're
You ever put
definitely.
them at the top?
Oh yeah,
Maybe Rocky in the 50s too.
Rocky Marciano,
He
and
just had
also
that attitude. He had that mentality. I ain't losing. You know.
as far as dominant goes, I can't put anybody over that Mike Tyson run. To be honest with you, but,
Mike Tyson?
because
Like the 80s, early
Yeah.
mid 80s.
yeah, the Bruce Seldon, Mike Tyson.
he was destroying people.
Oh my God! I mean, the
I mean,
anthem was longer than his fights.
You were scared to leave the TV. As soon as the
Exactly.
co-main, after the co-main ended, you wasn't going nowhere until the Tyson fight was over.
If you went to the bathroom real quick, you
It was
missed
over.
it, bro.
Come back. Yeah.
And the
Yeah,
Buster
it was great.
Douglas, I'll say this about the Buster Douglas fight, man. Like,
Mhm.
people love bringing up the count of Tyson Fury and Deontay
Yeah.
Wilder won. What about that count?
That's true. That's a good point.
And I mean, Buster Douglas did the impossible that he. I mean,
Yeah.
he fought his ass off. He lost his mother a few days before that.
Yeah, that's a
you
good
know,
point.
I like me some James.
There was
Buster
a
Douglas,
question about the count.
without
Both
a
of
doubt.
them. They said Tyson was fast when he was down, and then when they said Buster's was slow and Tyson's was fast.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That was a count like a Jack Dempsey, Gene Tunney type count. It was that bad.
Mhm. And the timekeeper
So-
admitted Gene Tunney had 13 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, you go ahead and you count from the moment that Tony goes down. No way you reach 10 seconds. No way.
I
It's
wonder
way
why the
more.
timekeeper didn't say something to the referee, like he got extra time.
Uh,
But the referee never checked with him, so I guess the timekeeper said, "Oh well," you know.
exactly.
So I don't know.
um,
That's strange. That was strange.
That's boxing, bro. You know.
Yeah. And Tunney admitted he couldn't have got up and on a 10. He said he needed those extra seconds.
No, he was done. You can tell he was
Yeah.
done.
That's what he said. He said he needed them. Mhm.
And that was worse because back in those days, I don't think they sent you to the neutral corner or anything. You were right.
They had
I
just-
remember the
They had
Dempsey
just
Willis.
started that fight.
Oh, okay.
First
Oh,
one.
that's right.
And guess what? But Dempsey's team didn't even tell him about that rule. He didn't even know. He didn't even know.
Oh my God.
They didn't even tell him. So he's standing there like he usually do, right there by the referee, and the referee trying. He probably don't know what the hell the referee talking about. Like what? And he
Like-
finally got him to the corner, and that's why Tunney got so much time. They said his team didn't even tell him. They had just changed. That was the first fight where that neutral corner rule was in effect. Yeah.
The Jess Willer fight, you can see like every time he dropped him like a million times in that fight, but you can
Oh, man.
he's right in front of him, waiting for him to get up to just
Yep.
pounce on him again. So it's like
Yeah, you
he's
can
used
do
to that,
then.
you know.
You can stand right there while they count it. As soon as they get up, you jump right on, jump right back on. Yeah.
Oh man. I mean, what do we got? Oh, we got the Chavez and Jake Paul fight. I don't know, man.
Is that this weekend?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm gonna tune in, to be honest.
Nah. Oscar picking Jake Paul.
Me too. Me
Ain't
too.
Chavez his fighter? Oscar fighter? Don't he
I mean,
fight
Chavez
Chavez?
Jr., bro, like, Chavez Jr. has that one thing where he almost beat Maravilla Martinez and then literally
Yeah.
did nothing else,
Nothing.
bro, except get himself in trouble and disappoint his father.
Yeah. The apple fell a long way from the tree on that one.
I mean, I'll give him the fact that he fought against Martinez and Canelo, even though he did nothing against Canelo. But
fought Yeah.
he most famous for all his BS outside of the ring. You know, he's been in rehab. I don't know how many times.
How old is he now?
Um,
He fine?
I got no idea.
Me neither.
He's got to be like 38 or something. Like
Gotta be close to. I was thinking he might be 40.
Chavez Jr. age. Let's see what we
You
got.
know? I know he's up there.
Julio Cesar Chavez Jr. Oh, he's my age. He's 39, bro. There you go.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Yeah. Yep.
Um,
That's it.
he ain't gonna do nothing to Jake Paul, man. He just
Nah.
got out of rehab. I mean, he's just getting this free money, and Jake
That's
Paul's
all.
getting a name. Jake Paul, I gotta give him credit, bro. Like he knows how to pick them, bro, because he fights them when he knows they got nothing left, but they still got a
Mhm.
name. You
Yeah,
know?
he getting that better, he getting a little better too, because he getting that experience. They say he's sparring with some pretty good people. Nobody knows who they are or anything, but you know.
I'll say this in all honesty: if Jake Paul will just zone in and fully dedicate himself to boxing,
Boxing,
he could make some noise.
could
He
make
has a
it,
right
yeah.
hand, bro. He
He
does
could
have
make
a
it.
right hand.
If he would just be a boxer. Yeah.
Let's say that
He can
he
make it.
drops the whole thing with. I mean, not drop, but just put it on hold, right? The
And
whole
just come through the
social
prospect
media
ranks like a
and
regular boxer, yeah.
just
He
live
can
the
make
life of a fighter. Just put it
Yeah.
in there. I think he can pull it off because he's an
I
actual
agree.
athlete, bro.
I agree. Yeah. And he's young too, you know.
Exactly.
He's young.
Um,
Excuse me. I agree 100% on that.
and
Yeah.
cruiserweight isn't the most active. Not at all. Not at all. You got Opetaya, Zurdo, Badu Jack still hanging in there, and then basically not much to go around. So, and
Yeah.
Opetaya's about to move up too. Opetaya has been
Is he?
saying already.
Heavyweight?
Yeah, he's been saying it for a while. You got to give me the Zurdo fight before you move up, though.
Yeah.
You got to give me that one.
We gotta see that. Yeah. He can't leave without that one. Nah.
So I'm sure of that. But I mean, when you made so much money and you got this promotional company, you got all these different things and all this money coming in. I don't know if he really wants to live that life. You know, I don't blame him, because the point of living that life is to get out of the trouble that you're in, and
Yeah.
you don't have any trouble. Why look for it? You know.
He's making a killing as a promoter, you know. So
Yeah, they're criticizing Zurdo because he's had some issues with PEDs and this and that, but Zurdo is more battle tested than Opetaya. Zurdo has fought Bivol. Now that wasn't a cruiserweight, that was a 175, but nevertheless he fought Bivol, and I guess you would say Opetaya's best rival was Maris Bridis. I don't think that's
yeah, I would say so.
But Zurdo has Chris Billum Smith. He has he's fought a few guys, so he's record. Oh, another reason why people give Zurdo crap is because his record has been padded, like Munguia's and a few other. But he's good, bro. He beat the shit out of Chris Billum Smith, bro. Like he really did it. So yeah, there's a couple of reasons for Zurdo's issues. PD maybe here and there, but mostly it's like the padded up record.
Him and Opetaya got to do it though, because they'll never forgive either one of them if they don't fight. Man, they got to get in there. Those are the two. Badu Jack is the champion too at cruiserweight, right?
Yes, he has one belt. I can't remember which one is, but he just beat Noel and Mikeli and something like that just beat him. And I do like Zurdo as well. I like Opetaya better, but I do like Zurdo as well.
I want to see the fight. Who would you pick on it?
Ooh, man, I got Opetaya, but that's a 50-55, bro, because they're both southpaws.
Yeah,
you know, so Opetaya to me is more skilled. Zurdo Zurdo is the Energizer Bunny, bro. Zurdo will throw 1,000,000 punches per round, bro, and non-stop. But the thing with Opetaya is that he really hasn't. He just got in the ring with Claudio Square, which was ranked like 14th or 13th, and before that he got in there with David Nika. He's pretty good, David, and he was a late replacement, so I'm not gonna, be unfair about that. He was supposed to fight somebody else, and he pulled out, and then David Nika stepped in. But you gotta fight somebody else, bro. Fight Badu Jack or Zurdo, or because Zurdo's fighting now. He's fighting on the Jake Paul card. He's the co-main.
This weekend. Yeah.
And after that fight, I don't want to hear anything come out of Zurdo's mouth except Jai
Opetaya. Because they both just fought, right?
Exactly. Because Opetaya fought like a few weeks ago, or maybe a month ago.
So they right around the same time frame. Make the fight.
And the time is now, bro. I had enough with these fights happening way too late, bro. The time is now, bro. That's it. Who else are you gonna now? If one of them wants to fight Badou Jack first, I'm not gonna have an issue with
I'll
that.
give it say that. Yeah,
But,
fight him first and get. I wouldn't be mad at that. But the only other fight, if it's not each other, one of them have to fight Badou Jack first. Nobody else.
Yeah, it's one or the other. Like
Mhm.
that's the one thing that I would be like, okay, I'm not too mad at that because Badou
Right.
does have a title.
That's right.
Even though he's in his 40s, but he does have a title. So
He does have one of the
nevertheless,
titles there. Yeah. So get that off of him and then fight each other for undisputed.
and then you can go heavyweight. And even though Zurdo has been pretty vocal about wanting the rematch against Vivo,
Yeah.
he's been pretty vocal about that. But Vivo's busy, bro. He got Beterbiev, and then he's probably gonna have to see Benavidez.
Benavidez is in the picture.
So
He would have to come down, but I don't think Bivol is going up to cruiserweight though. Zerto talking about he willing to come back down to light heavyweight.
who?
Zerto, is he willing to come back down and fight Bivol?
No. He said Bivol needs to move up because Bivol has said that he's
Oh, has he?
considering
Okay.
moving up. Yeah. He's
Oh,
considering
okay.
going to cruiser to try to be undisputed in 2 different weight classes.
Well, there it is.
I don't know. I'm not too keen on that one. I mean, I wouldn't be mad about it, but what I want to see is whoever comes out of the Bivol Beterbiev, because I mean, I'm saying that as if it's a foregone conclusion that people's going to be Beterbiev. No. Whoever
No.
comes out of that one
No.
needs to see David Benavidez.
Yeah,
That's what needs to happen.
that's what I think too. That should be the next one. Next fight should be Benavidez. Because he missed the Canelo fight. He deserved it, man. Benavidez and earned the big fight,
Without
a
a
big
doubt.
name like that, you know?
Without a doubt. And
Yeah.
I don't mind him waiting. And there's Benavidez all over the place, bro. He just called out Opetaya. He called out Zurdo before that. I'm like, what's wrong with Brinks here?
Yeah, I heard him mention cruiserweight
Um,
before too. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But listen, you have to know because he was there on the Bivol Beterbiev too, right? If I'm not mistaken, he was there at the arena.
Okay. Oh, he was?
So you
Okay.
have whether you're there or not, it doesn't really matter for what I'm about to say, which is you have to know that if Bivol wins, which he did, they're 1-on-1 and they're gonna do the trilogy. You have
Yeah,
to know this.
Of course.
So I understand that you're just itching for it, but just fight Callum Smith or Anthony Yard or maybe Hot Rod, I don't know, one of them to keep yourself busy, and then
Yeah.
get your just due, pun intended.
Yeah.
You know?
That wouldn't have been right because Beterbiev gave Bivol the rematch, so it wouldn't have been right if Bivol would have went and fought Benavidez and just said, "Forget you, Beterbiev."
Yeah, because
that was
Beterbiev
the right
gave you
thing
the
to do,
rematch.
man.
Yeah.
Trilogy.
Beterbiev gave you the rematch. The right
Right.
thing to do is that you
Give him
put
the
him the
rematch.
rematch
And
back.
settle
So
it. And then that's it. Settle it. Don't leave it at 1-1, and then it's all over with. The winner fights Benavidez. And another
Exactly.
big fight. You know?
And fighting Callum Smith or Anthony Yard, personally, I think Callum Smith deserves it more because Anthony Yard fought Beterbiev and Kovalev, did great, lost,
Mhm.
but really hasn't fought anybody. Anthony Yard's such a weird career, bro, because he is talented. He has really fast
Yeah.
hands, but
Doesn't
your
do
best,
much against Beterbiev, though.
but your best win is Lyndon Arthur, bro. Something wrong with that
Yeah,
picture.
that was the last one, wasn't it, Arthur?
Yeah, he saw him 3 times, and you never saw. You don't have one fight against Joe Smith Jr. or Callum Smith or Buatsi, bro. Buatsi, how many times did they announce that fight? And they never happened. I mean,
Never
come
happened.
on.
Never happened.
I mean that looks bad, and I'm not saying that's all his fault. I know he had issues with Frank Warren and this and that, but they were both there in the ring because in the UK they love doing this in the ring interview.
Yeah, I know. Yeah,
And they were right next to each other, and this was a while back, bro.
yeah, I saw that. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I don't know, man. Anthony Yard gotta fight somebody with a pulse and do that quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it was funny to me when he was. Remember that card that was Callum Smith against Buatsi, and then the main event was Bivol Beterbiev too, and he was one of the commentators, and I'm like, bro, like the picture is crystal clear. Like everyone else is doing something except for you.
But when
Literally.
you on the card, you out there commentating.
He's right there with a microphone in his hand, for lack of a better word, right?
Yeah.
And you're commenting on what everyone else is doing, and you're like there looking like a, well, you know what I'm about to say.
Yeah.
I
Hey,
don't know,
before we
man.
go, let me ask you this before we go. What you think about that Manny and Mario Barrios fight?
Oh man. I'll say this: if Pac-Man pulls it off, bro, I'm having champagne. But
You pulling for Manny?
of course, of course.
Yeah.
I mean, what I want to happen is Manny to pull it off, to Manny to pull off the Keith Thurman performance or whatever, you know.
Yeah.
But
You
what
think
I
you got
think,
another one of them in him?
I hope I'm right, but I'm not
Yeah.
sure. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
The problem is, what I don't want to see is him getting seriously hurt. Like
Yeah,
I don't care if Mario Barrios just picks him apart and
Right.
beats him 12-0. I don't really care if that happens. What I don't want to see happen, and I'm not the
Yeah.
biggest Manny fan, okay? I'm not the biggest Manny fan, but
Yeah, I
just
don't
out
want
of
to see that
respect, just out of respect, just please leave the guy in one piece, please.
Yeah, like Ugas to another level or something. I don't want to see nothing like that, man.
Right.
You know?
Right. That's really, you know.
Barrios is tough too. He could do it, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah, but his last
Can't
fight
really
was
call
shaky, man.
Yeah, I know. That's why I really can't call that one.
Yeah, and Barrios, I think it's clear that he's really overrated. That's what I would say about Barrios, because
Been in there with some big names though, but you know he hadn't really did too much against them. But he's been in there, you know, Tank and Keith Thurman and
no, but not only that. I mean, he's probably not gonna get in there with Brian Norman either.
You don't think so?
I will be shocked if he does. I know he got in there with Tank, but I don't see him getting in there with Brian Norman.
Okay.
I don't know. It's weird.
And Booth says the other two. So if he move up, then he had to vacate to be 2 titles out there. Then, wow.
I don't know if because Boots beats Stanionis for that other belt. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So if he moves up, then the 2 titles out there. Norman and Barrios should have fought for them and somebody get undisputed again, but they don't do things like, you know, in a perfect world, that's what would happen.
I mean, we'll see, because we got all these dudes moving up, you know, Devin, Tio,
Oh, I know.
and Ryan. And
As soon as Boots leave, it's going to be a big influx coming to 147.
Yeah, he already vacated his belt, so that's correct.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
Okay.
I read about that.
Okay. Yeah, Booger said the belts have been relinquished.
Yeah, because he officially moved up. Yeah, he's in 154. As we speak.
Okay. So now all them other guys going to come up there and try to get those belts. Then they be in 4 different hands again. Here we go all over again.
It's funny how they call Boots a duck, and he literally moved to the toughest division in boxing.
I know. Yeah. You know, that's just people hate. People just looking for something negative to say sometimes. You know, they do a lot of fighters. Not just him. They do all fighters. Like a lot of fighters like that.
Yeah, too many. The word duck has been used way too loosely.
I know.
I like it.
And how can you duck somebody like they said he ducked, like Virgil? They wasn't even in the same division.
Exactly. I mean, that's exactly.
They're gonna fight eventually. They're gonna fight. Just gotta be patient.
Yeah.
I duck
You know, I
somebody
think,
who's not even in the same division yet, man.
I think Oscar Collazo ducked Tyson Fury as well. You know,
Who?
There's like a foot difference in stature and like 200 different pound difference in weight, but I think Oscar Collazo ducked Tyson Fury as well.
You think so?
If we're gonna use that line of argument, you know,
Yeah. Use it right. Yeah.
Oh man.
But like you said, it is used too much. It is used too much.
Yeah, I mean, people's ignorance just baffles me, bro, because it's like you use I mean, here's the problem with boxing, right? Here's the problem. Because you look at basketball, baseball, and football, most people have played it. You know, most people have played it. Most people haven't done this.
That's right.
Most people haven't laced up a pair of gloves and get in a ring. So you see it from afar. And it looks simple. It looks like, you know, oh, this guy's running, this guy. Yeah, you're looking from afar, but you've never been in there. You don't know that you got to take 10 seconds, 15 seconds every once in a while to get your bearings back. You know, like I've done some sparring. I was nothing special, not at all, but I know what it's like to be in there.
And you said the key word, sparring. Look what they've done just to get ready for that fight.
Exactly.
You know?
So, but when you're looking from afar, you see, oh, it's 2 hands, not a
Right.
lot. There's a lot more to this, man.
Mhm.
Like you gotta get educated. Like
He's running.
you can't keep using this BS one line hit and run type arguments, bro.
Yeah.
It gets tiring.
And should you get caught with a good shot, what you gonna stand there in the pocket and wait for another one? You're supposed to move around, you know.
Oh, he's running. Oh, of course he's running. He's taking his time to get his bearings
He
back,
just
bro.
got
Wouldn't
caught.
you? Wouldn't you?
You trying not to get caught again.
You would do the same thing, bro. Come on,
Right.
man. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, people don't look at it that way, bro. It's so
I know.
frustrating.
I know, man. I would never call a fighter a bum or trash or anything, man.
That's
People have
disrespect.
lost their life doing what those guys and women do,
A
man.
bunch of them have.
Nobody go up those steps between those ropes all trash or a bum, no.
Come on.
Some might be lower level than others, but none of them are bums and trash. Mm-mm.
That's what I figured. Like, I started thinking the other day, I was like, why are people so ignorant about this sport? And then it came to me, like, they haven't done this the way they have played basketball or put a
Right.
glove or put a.
I never looked at it like that, but that's a good point you find on.
Yeah, look at it from that perspective, because people will speak about what they've done, you know, what they relate to or whatever, but this is different because
You never
first
done
of all
that.
you can't play this. First of all, you cannot play this. It's
Mm-mm.
impossible.
No, you got to be in shape.
And
Yeah,
from
you take
afar,
those-
it looks far more simple than it is, because I was one of those bozos once upon a time. You know, I was ignorant and I was calling people
Right.
runners and cowards and whatever else you wanna, you know. And then I was like, hang on a second, I'm saying the same thing over and over again. What the hell is this? Let me just get educated and do some research here, and you know, then we have me today. You know.
Guy stand in the pocket, get hit with a good left hook in the side. You think he gonna just stand in the pocket for another one? No, he gonna move.
I went and I
They call
trained
it
for like
running.
2 or 3 years. I took like 2 or 3 years to train the sport
Yeah.
and to get educated on the sport, and that's given me a whole new outlook on things, bro. Like, I'm so thankful for. I mean, I got my ass whooped a couple of times, but
Yeah.
that's important in life. It's good to get your ass whooped every now and then, bro. It
That's
gives
right.
you humility, you know.
That's right.
So
You learn from a good beating sometimes. You
oh
know.
hell yeah, bro. One time I was sparring with this dude and we were just going at it. He caught me with an uppercut straight on the chin, and when the trainer said time, I literally went, thank you God. I swear to you, bro.
He was ready to stop.
Bro, he really like he rocked me really hard because I didn't see it coming, and it was straight on
Yeah.
the chin.
So that's the one. Yeah.
I held on to it and I was like, bro, you ain't getting me off of me. Fuck this. And then he said time, and I was like, thank you, God.
You should have ran.
I'm telling you, bro.
You clinched though. That's a good move.
That was just pure instinct, bro. Trust me.
Mhm.
Oh man, great conversation. as
Yeah, we
always,
gotta get out of
bro.
here because we'll be here for the next 2 hours. But
I'm
I appreciate
sorry,
you, fine, Arnie.
I got a little bit carried away, but
Great
I
cook.
love
Oh,
the
it was a good cook, man. I appreciate it.
I
Good cook.
appreciate you, bro, and God bless you. Great show
Okay.
as always. You
I'll
take care.
catch you on the next one.
Absolutely.
All right. The fine Arnie one there with the good cook today. Terrell Cameron, Ant McQueen, Thomas Hill, Cam J Network, Mike Mazik, BBO Sports TV, Ken Saw Love One, Darrell Hattie, Let's Talk Fashion, The Fine Arnie One, Ray Patterson, The Drunk Irishman, Mike Mazik, Al Booger, Mike Rim, and Miss Cass. Appreciate everybody 1000%. And I appreciate you, Fine Arnie, for that good cook on the panel today. Okay, Just Do Boxing is in progress already. We're going to get on over there. Tomorrow is the Boxing in the States. It's the final Boxing in the States tomorrow, Wyoming. No more states after Wyoming, right? I don't think. So the final Boxing in the States tomorrow, Wyoming. And then Friday, we're going to look at this for the profile, the Spinks boxing family. We're going to look at Leon, Michael, and then the second generation, Leon's son, Michael, nephew, Corey. The Spinks boxing family Friday. Okay. So Just Do Boxing is coming up next. I'll be back tomorrow with Boxing in the States, Wyoming. If it's Monday through Friday, 2 p.m., it's The Boxtorian, bringing you all that boxing history. Everybody have a great afternoon.